All right, this is how to recover like a professional. So there are a lot of things that go into recovery. You put in the work, you do all the hours of training, you have all these different stressors in your life, but you got to recover from them. So how do you do that? I think that there are about four different important things that you need to do to make sure that you recover like a pro. And the very first one is sleep. Sleep is super important. It's regenerative, not just for your mind, but for your body. And not only will you be able to work out harder or feel better if you get your good amount of sleep, whether it's 8 hours, 6, 8, 10. Preferably, for the average person, it's 8, but if you can get more, that's fantastic. Or just try and up the quality of your sleep. You're going to feel better after a big day of training, after a rest day. It's just, so many benefits to sleep. Your body's able to actually just, digest everything that you've done, is able to absorb all the work. So there's a lot of science that goes into sleep. There's a lot of things that actually do happen while you sleep that if you really want to dig into that, we can do this whole video on what sleep actually is. But I do have one tip that you can do to be able to recover and sleep better and specifically get more deep sleep. And this we are going to have a very detailed video on, but it's with the Pillar Performance Triple Magnesium. It's the most concentrated type of magnesium. They call it the magnesium bisglycinate, and essentially you take a scoop before bed. They even have pill form, and you can it helps you maximize your deep sleep. I've seen it. I wear the Oura ring, I track it, and I can see it go up in the amount of time that I get deep sleep. And having 2 kids, sleep is sometimes a little bit harder to get the full 8 hours. So I find this super important just to maintain the quality of sleep and make sure that, whatever hours I'm able to sleep, I'm making the most of them. And naps are also good. They're a little bit of a Band-Aid. And it's better to get it in your full rest and your full sleep versus just, being on the couch and just sleeping for maybe an hour or two. So definitely try and get it all in one go. If you have the luxury to nap, that's also good. So number 2 that is on the list, and these are somewhat in order of importance. These first 2 are basically tied, and the 2 following after are also basically tied. So number 2 is food, like calories. Like if you train hard and you burn calories, you have to eat. Eating is super important. You ask any professional athlete, especially a professional triathlete, and what can you do? They'll always say sleep and eat. And this comes in a lot of different forms. You got to get the, diet right. I like to build a lot of my meals around a lean protein and vegetables, and then, add in the carbs around. Sometimes they're more complex if I don't have, heavy training based around those meals. So that's like quinoas, farro, that sort of thing. Or they're a lot more simple, and you'll see white breads, white pastas, and white rice. And that's just, based on what sort of workouts am I doing tomorrow morning or in the hours following those meals. It's super important to get your food in right after you train. So whether that be a shake or not, I have a couple things. I got, packets like this of custom protein. This is just infinite. You can buy stuff like this on the feed just in individual packets, or I even like having big old things like this. This is just a chocolate protein recovery drink, just to have right after in a blender bottle. Sometimes I bring a bar, or I might go and eat like lunch or dinner or something immediately after. So it's just getting in that those calories right after a workout so that your body can start absorbing those macronutrients and micronutrients to be able to prep you for the next one. So if you starve your body in any way, it's just not going to be good. I think that nutrition can be very personalized, but draw from other people's mistakes. And if you limit calories too much, you're limiting performance. And we especially see that too in training nutrition and trying to up those grams of carbohydrate as much as possible per hour. So that should kind of be, reflected in your normal diet too. And obviously keep it within reason, because if you're overdoing it and you're taking in too many calories, there's negative side effects there too. But I think that a well-rounded and balanced diet is super important to base everything around of, and then just getting the timing right of all the food. And I keep it super simple before a workout, and afterwards is when I maybe get a bit more complex and just try and fill in the gaps that I couldn't before those hard workouts, where I'm eating super simple and not really eating as many vegetables or stuff like that. So, and then obviously, like I said, right after a workout, make sure you get in calories just to help that recovery process start right away. And on to number 3 in what you can do to recover like a pro. And this one kind of treads the line on a luxury, and that's massage. And this can even go into a bit of mobility and physical therapy work a little bit, because I think a lot of the strength work that I do is actually more of like a strength mobility that just helps keep me moving in a good way, keeps, the upper body moving, the lower body just. Triathletes, we usually go forwards, and that's about it. We don't go side to side or backwards. So having a massage, having that mobility work keeps all of those muscles that are stabilizers and muscles that get overworked in your day loose, and just prevent you from any sort of injury that could happen. So that I think is one of those things where it's all about what is your price for what you feel a massage is worth. I have a super great massage therapist here in Phoenix, and I see her, sometimes once a week. It can be even more if I'm in a super heavy training block, or it can be less if I feel like, I'm managing the training load well and other stressors, and, not maybe in a super intense block. So that's something that I think is kind of built through a little bit of experimentation, but I've had a lot of use of massage, physical therapy, mobility throughout my career, and find that when I'm doing the work that way, my body feels fresher and it just feels better at the end of the day, rather than if I'm just, focusing on just laying on the couch, for example. Number 4 for the ways to recover like a pro. This one is the fun one. It's gadgets. It's what can you use to, help yourself circulate blood better, feel better. It can be, percussion devices. There's all sorts of things. So some of my favorites, I love the Firefly device. It's a little stim device that goes on your perineal nerve, and it's the bone marker is just, right kind of to the side of your kneecap. I'm forgetting it's like the head of the fibula or something like that on the side of your leg. And it just causes a little twitching of the foot of all those muscles. And it's the same effect blood circulation wise as like Normatec boots, which I also love, and love those for compression, especially. Kind of feels like, a massage in a way. But where the boots might increase your circulation by 200-300%, the Firefly device is increasing circulation by about 400%. So I've found those specifically useful for flights, especially where ankles swell and just, maybe not having the space for the boots there. I really find the Firefly device helps well. I also like some scraping tools. I use that every so often, and the Hyper Ice, the different Hypervolt guns and all those sorts of gadgets. Those are always good. Help loosen up the body. Scraping is a little bit more specific and should also have some caution when doing it, because if you do it too hard, that can make things worse. So it's always kind of a start lighter for me, and I've had some experience with it, but I don't go super hard. It's more just to loosen muscles up if they're tight after a workout, or kind of get some blood flowing in them before I go. And that's how I use the Hypervolt gun. That's a warm-up type thing for me. If I have a particular soreness, I try and work it out with that. So there's so many different devices you can get out there. I'm lucky enough to also have a Master Spas, so that's, a hot tub, or even, in the summer, try and get it down cooler. But, a way to either relax that way, have some jets, or have some heat there. But that's more of a luxury and does help with recovery, but maybe is not as available. But you can always find something like that, at your local health and wellness center. So a lot of different things that you can use that way, to the different gadgets, tools. But in order of importance, like those all have their place, but to bring it back around and make it super simple, 4 things you need: good sleep, good food, and especially get the timing right, massage, and then all those extra gadgets and things. And everything has their place, and you just have to be able to utilize them the best. And if you don't have a ton of time, this is just sort of a way to try and prioritize and make the most of your recovery and be able to recover like a pro. So thanks, guys. Stay tuned for more, and just be sure to, drop a comment. Let me know what your favorite recovery tool or favorite recovery thing is.